Okay, so there's just this overwhelming flood of information out there, right? Especially with huge global events like this recent flare-up between Israel and Iran. It's tough to keep track.
It really is. Headlines fly thick and fast.
Exactly. And that's why we're here. We've taken the sources you sent us, and today we're doing a deep dive specifically into Operation Rising Lion, that major event back in June 2025. Our whole mission really is to just cut through all that noise, pull out the key insights, maybe some surprising facts so you can get a handle on what actually happened.
And it's so important, especially now, understanding the layers behind those headlines, the context, the hard facts. It's crucial if you want to grasp the full picture and what it all means.
Yeah.
This deep dive should help bring that clarity.
All right, let's jump in. So things really kicked off, according to our sources, on June 13th, 2025. Israel launched this big operation, codenamed Operation Rising Lion.
Right, their aerial offensive.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like one quick strike. We're talking multiple waves of airstrikes, hitting targets deep inside Iran. Key places, strategic location.
It was like Iran, the capital, obviously.
Yeah.
But also Natanz, the big enrichment facility, Isfahan, Fordo, which is buried deep underground, and Arak, the heavy water reactor. Plus IRGC military sites, too.
A really wide range of targets.
A very wide range. And beyond just the scale of the attack, the human cost was, well, significant. Reports vary, but Iranian fatalities seem to be somewhere between 200 and maybe 639 people.
Wow.
Yeah, and that includes both military personnel and, tragically, civilians. Sources also mention Israel issued evacuation warnings around the Arak reactor area. That tells you something about the targets.
Definitely signals intent.
And the Israeli Air Force, the IAF, they claim they took out Iran's internal security headquarters and some key police and political infrastructure right in Tehran. So it wasn't just military or nuclear, it was an attempt at broader destabilization, it seems.
Okay, so Israel makes this huge move. The obvious next question is Iran's response. And they did respond forcefully.
Oh, absolutely. The sources detail waves of retaliation, ballistic missiles, the newer hypersonic ones, drones, a real mix.
And a lot of them, right? Something like 400 projectiles aimed at Israel.
Up to 400, yeah.
Right.
A massive barrage. And this is where you see the defense systems really tested. Israel's Iron Dome, their aero system, very advanced, very capable.
High interception rates, usually.
Exactly. Very high interception rates. But even so, the sheer volume of that attack meant some got through. Sources confirm around 24 deaths inside Israel.
Still significant casualties despite the defenses.
Definitely. And considerable property damage, too. Cities like Tel Aviv, they were hearing air raid sirens frequently. It shows that even the best defenses can be overwhelmed by saturation. Perfect defense is basically impossible against that kind of volley.
So while all this is happening militarily, the diplomatic wheels are spinning like crazy.
Instantly. Global reaction.
Yeah, our sources show leaders scrambling, like U.S. President Donald Trump calling Iran a few weeks away from a bomb, demanding unconditional surrender.
Very strong words.
Yeah.
And reportedly, he was even considering limited U.S. military action, maybe strikes on Fordo, possibly with American air support. That really raises the stakes.
Hugely. But Iran pushed back hard on that front, too.
They did. Leaders like Ayatollah Khamenei issued stark warnings, according to the sources, vowing irreparable damage if the U.S. got directly involved. So you have an incredibly tense standoff.
Meanwhile, Europe's trying to salvage diplomacy.
Right, pushing for renewed nuclear talks, maybe in Geneva. But the sources note a lot of concern because the U.S. wasn't apparently going to be part of those specific talks. Makes it difficult.
I can imagine. And everyone else just calling for calm.
Pretty much. The UN, the EU, Russia, China, even Pope Francis urging restraint. And of course, oil markets watching every single move. Very jittery.
Okay, let's shift to the immediate fallout. The human side, the strategic side.
It was immediate and quite severe. Sources report over 100,000 residents fleeing Tehran, heading north, just trying to get away from the capital.
Amid fear and uncertainty, I guess.
Exactly. And Iran imposed national internet blackouts. For security reasons, they said, but it also isolates the population. And then you had foreign governments scrambling to get their citizens out.
Like India's Operation Sindhu.
Yeah, evacuating around 110 Indian nationals. Small numbers maybe, but symbolic of the danger perceived.
So strategically, how do the experts in our sources see this?
Well, it's being analyzed as a kind of hybrid warfare model. You have the overt stuff, the big IAF air raids on nuclear sites, but also covert actions attributed to Mossad, like earlier drone strikes hitting missile launchers deep inside Iran. It's multi-layered.
A mix of overt and covert pressure.
Precisely. And there's an interesting caution mentioned from former Israeli PM Ehud Barak. He apparently argued that actually trying to topple the Iranian regime is unrealistic.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and he also warned, kind of paradoxically, that direct U.S. intervention might actually push Iran to accelerate its nuclear program, not stop it.
That's a good complex calculation.
Very. This whole conflict became a real-time crucible for modern warfare tech. Israel's defenses, Iran's missiles like the Sigil and the Fatah hypersonic ones, all being tested under intense real-world conditions.
So pulling it all together, this deep dive into your sources really shows the sheer intensity, doesn't it? The military strikes, the global politics, the human cost, it's all interwoven.
It absolutely is. And looking at this complex picture, the advanced weapons, the shifting alliances, the very real human impact, it raises a big question for you to think about. What does this kind of conflict tell us about the future? The future of stability in the region, global power dynamics, especially now that these missile defenses and new hybrid tactics are being actively tested and, well, evolved right before our eyes.